Hello, and welcome to the Vergecast. It is the week of February 17th. I had to look down to check it. 2014. I am Dieter Bone.
I'm David Pierce.
I'm Ellis Hamburger.
And that took you a while.
Yeah.
Is that,
well,
are you okay?
I'm sitting in Josh's seat. He's not here. He
It's a
hasn't
lot
been
of
here for a
pressure.
while. If you weren't aware, Josh has a big announcement that I guess I'm making. For
Yes,
him.
you are. I mean, it's like he's been tweeting.
It's out there. It's out there in the world.
Yeah.
That Josh had a baby, and
it is a baby,
and so that is
and he still has
he's
it
on paternity
Yeah.
leave and not with us, except in spirit.
Right.
Which
And
is to say that,
basically all I know about Josh's baby is that Laura keeps tweeting.
Yeah.
It's still there.
It's still there.
That's-
Probably watching right now, so be careful what you say. Hi, Josh.
Laura
baby.
just keeps being like, "We got a baby on Tuesday."
Laura's
and
very
now
mad
it's
the
Saturday,
baby
and I still
can't
have
read.
it. And I mean, it's
Pick it up.
What fun is it until it can read? Yeah. Come on.
Were we
Let's be
supposed to
honest.
talk about the Verge baby vertical, or is that still a secret?
That's such a good idea.
Did I
No,
just
it's
blow
not.
it?
Just apps for babies.
Well,
Baby
it's about implants.
Diaper reviews.
Like,
Oh, I see.
Yeah,
Diaper
that kind
reviews.
of thing.
That's not bad.
You can monitor like the baby's vision and make sure their eyes are on the prize for their whole life. We don't want any losers.
So it's
on
basically
Verge
like if
baby.
you like really are hell bent on getting your kid into like an awesome preschool, you're all over Verge babies.
Yeah,
That's
they
like
all
your
go to
move.
the Montessori schools, that kind of thing.
No,
right?
Okay.
no. See, you got
I
it all
will review
wrong.
Montessori schools.
Verge
That's-
Babies isn't about babies. Verge Babies is about the same thing that The Verge is, only it's staffed by Muppets.
Oh, that's
Muppet
interesting.
Babies. It's the Muppet Babies version of The Verge. We all speak in high, squeaky voices. We're perishingly
But
adorable.
we cover the same thing
Yeah,
all the time.
yeah.
I'm into it.
Yeah.
Like the
How would-
NSA, we just get really angry, but it's babies. So what do you? It's adorable.
So
Yeah,
cute.
it's
They're so
NSA.
angry about net
Aw.
neutrality. Oh.
Prism.
Crib neutrality is going to be the hot topic, I think.
Oh my God.
Okay, so it was a week.
Yeah, it's
been a week.
It seemed like it was not going to be a week, and then Facebook decided to make a week out of it.
No big deal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So they bought WhatsApp for $1 billion. No, I'm sorry, 16. No, maybe 19.
It's $16 billion in
Okay.
cash and stock, plus $3 billion in restricted stock that vests over the course of 3 years.
Okay, explain that in English because I have
That's-
gotten this
that's all
tweet
it
a
is.
1,000
Yeah.
times.
That's all it is. It's basically $16 billion up front and $3 billion over the next few years.
Yeah.
Is
For
that
the
so that the
employees,
founders
right?
will and employees will stay at the
Yeah.
company?
Among
I
other
assume that's
reasons.
what it is.
Yeah, I'm not totally sure on the structure of it. All that really matters is that it's the biggest deal to ever come out of like a venture-backed startup in history.
Yeah.
By like a pretty wide margin.
Yeah.
right?
And the even bigger deal is that WhatsApp is arguably Facebook's biggest real competitor for people's attention on mobile phones across the world, and now they own it.
You think?
Yeah.
You think WhatsApp is
So they had
Facebook's biggest competitor?
450 million users right now.
Active.
Active, that's monthly, but then like some like over half are using it like once per
Yeah,
day.
70%
Just
are using it every
huge
single
numbers.
day.
But isn't
have-
WhatsApp like a fundamentally a one-to-one messaging thing, which is not what Facebook has ever seemed to have that much interest in?
Not necessarily. The point is that it's private. Whereas
Yeah.
Facebook, everybody has these ballooning friends lists that they cannot maintain, which, in some ways is a strength. You
Was
can
that like
post
a I have a lot
an
of friends
update
humble brag?
about
Is that what that just
yeah, it was.
Might have been,
Okay,
yeah.
I was making sure.
I think you and I both, we've been on Facebook since like a certain time during late high school, college, when you watched your kind of social life bloom as you just added friends on Facebook.
Sure.
And
Yeah, it was like there
now-
was definitely a period of my life where every single person I met just like instantly added them on Facebook.
And now we
I
don't
was like,
talk
you
to...
I saw at a bar, let's be friends on Facebook.
And now we don't talk to almost any of them,
No.
which in a way has kind of
I hate
diluted
most
the
of those.
value of the ability to post to everybody. So what a lot of people are doing is using Snapchat share with just a few people, or especially around the world, since Snapchat isn't as popular globally quite yet, they're using apps like WhatsApp to communicate with one person or with a group of people. And they're posting the same kind of stuff,
Yeah.
like photos of friends and
Yeah.
family, but they're posting it to private groups. And, there's no feed, but people are getting it all in their pocket. There's no desktop component. Everything is very, very urgent. And that's part of the reason that it's so sticky and so addictive. And they were one of the first apps to really take your phone book and turn it into your social graph.
You know what's super weird
So
to me though
everybody
is
is vital.
What you just described is also Google Plus, and that didn't work at
No,
all.
the thing that's different about WhatsApp is it's not social in the way that we traditionally think of social.
Right.
It's a utility app. It
pure-
replaces
pure
It's a
communication.
messaging app.
Right.
It's a texting app.
Right.
Fundamentally, it like does other stuff, but it's a
But it does
texting
it
app.
pretty well, and
Sure.
it does it for $1 a year after
Right.
the first
Yep.
year. And critically, it works on everything. They
Yeah.
made a
Yeah.
solid J2ME app for feature phones. They've got it on Android. They've got it on BlackBerry. They've got it on Windows Phone.
on
they've
Windows
got it
Phone.
on
Symbian.
iPhone. They've got it on Symbian.
Is it really on Symbian?
Yeah.
I feel like all you did to say was Symbian, and I'd be like, oh, it's everywhere.
Yeah.
It's on every platform on the planet.
And what they did
Is there
was
a BlackBerry app?
It,
Look
it
this
was
up.
such a sleeper hit over the years.
Yeah.
Everybody's been
How long has
saying
it
it
been around?
didn't get much press. I think 2009.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
And it was one of the first true BBM replacements on iPhone. And they were actually on iPhone before push notifications even existed within iOS. So back then it was a status system, so you could see what your friends are up to, just
Right.
like kind of your AIM status.
Just like Twitter. That was the original idea for Twitter. It was like
Right.
a
Yeah.
status update broadcast thinger.
right.
It's like, hey,
And what
hey,
they
I'm at the
did
park.
was
Yo,
they
on a bench.
made themselves a replacement for SMS, which made it really easy to understand. You don't have to explain to anybody in all these countries where WhatsApp is really critical to people's lives. You don't have to explain what it is. You say, you're spending a lot of money on SMS right now. Switch to this. Your friends are on it. That's it.
Yeah, I mean that's the easiest thing ever, right? Is like I did some research on this yesterday, and it's the SMS is $120 billion
Yeah.
industry every year. That's a crazy number, and like most of that, I don't know this for sure, but I'm sure most of that is outside of the U.S.
And it's all at some point going to be eaten
Right.
by digital like database.
Right.
Yeah,
Well, and
so
texting
that's
is like the fundamental way people communicate a lot of places. Like you hear
Right.
these stories about like people in Africa, there's all this infrastructure for sending money over text messages. And it's like it's huge. And if you just show up and you're like, hey, want to do the same thing but for free? It's like
Why
that's not
not?
that hard to
For a
sell.
buck.
Yeah.
That's what's kind of crazy
Or a
too.
buck,
Is
yeah.
that
So-
it's hardly changed.
So we
Yeah,
should
no, it
talk
really
about
hasn't.
we should talk about the scale here because like every year we look at like Apple's quarterly results. Oh, lots of billions, and you kind of lose track.
Sure.
So I hear $20 billion, and you just think it's insane.
What
so
do you
like,
even compare it
how can
to?
we put that in context? It's what percent of Facebook is it? It's like 8,
just,
9, 10,
just
10%?
less than 10% of Facebook's market cap, and it's 35% of the cash they had
Yeah.
on hand.
I mean, that's a giant
That's
number.
a
and
huge
a
Yeah,
board
that's
seat.
crazy.
Yeah.
And a board seat, which
The
is
board
also an
seat is also
investment. I
nuts.
mean, that's
Right.
a big deal.
So Apple's market cap is $474 billion. So this would be like Apple dropping $45 billion on something.
Yeah.
Comparatively.
Yeah.
The point is, Facebook bought Instagram for $1 billion, and then it tried to buy Snapchat for $3 billion. And when those events took place, people were like, just like you did, Dieter. This is
Yeah.
huge.
$1 billion.
And then now this is multiple like degrees bigger than that. And I think that the reason is like with Instagram, there were a lot fewer users,
Yeah.
but the engagement was good. With this, as Zuckerberg said, this is not only half as big as Facebook in terms of active users, just about maybe a half to a third, but the engagement is so high. Mark Zuckerberg said that this is the only app on the planet that has higher engagement than Facebook.
So yeah. He kept on saying they're gonna hit 1 billion users. We see it coming, and you
Yeah.
look at their user graph, and that seems obvious.
Yeah, it's insane. This
So-
graph in this
Yeah.
post that you wrote, which is really great, is just wild. Like it's like
Right.
a hockey stick.
Yeah,
Right.
so
It's like a
I mean,
weird
yeah,
hockey
Ellis wrote
stick,
this
but a hockey
great
stick.
post about it, and Zuckerberg's like mission statement for Facebook is connect the world's people, right? And when we were talking about this piece, I was like, I always listened to that and heard like, oh, mission statement snoozed. Oh, this is just words that some committee put together. I don't care.
But it's supposed to be as broad and as vague as possible.
Right.
But it's not a mission statement. It's a threat. Like when we were playing around for headlines for this thing, one of the headlines was like, Facebook is no longer the social network. Facebook wants to be just the network.
Yeah.
I look at Mark Zuckerberg now and I'm like, oh, he's going to control every way that most people communicate on the planet. That's
And-
great. It's not just like he's the biggest social network. It's everybody everybody has to talk through Zuck.
As the mobile guy, Dieter, how many people in the world have phones? Do you know?
Man, why you got to put me on the spot like that? Come on.
So I'll throw out a statistic that people were talking about this week is they're expecting 5 billion people to have like a mobile device
sure.
by 2017. And now Facebook and WhatsApp are in better position than anyone to capture that opportunity.
Right.
And so essentially what that says is, especially to investors, since Facebook is a public company, it says this is a huge opportunity to capture that just pure communication, talking to your friends.
So-
Like even if Facebook for some people is stale, this is something that's never going to be stale. And I think WhatsApp's success proves
Well,
that.
I mean, and
is-
you just like you're defining Facebook as like this one particular thing, and like this is Facebook being like much more than just Facebook,
Right.
Like Facebook.com might die, but like Facebook's never going to die,
right. So
because
what is
Facebook
so
is
what
more
does
than
that look like to
Facebook.com.
you? The next version of Facebook.
I mean, it's
future of
Disney. Like Kara Swisher wrote this really great piece about this, and she compared Facebook to Disney, which is brilliant. And just like Disney
Yeah.
has all these different companies, and like they find, smart ways for their companies to work together. Like there's ESPN stuff at Disney World, but ultimately those two things have nothing to do with each other, except that they're both owned by Disney. And like what they can do is it just brings them so much money that they can buy other things, and some of them don't work.
And
some of
Disney
them do,
doesn't
and-
let them jeopardize each other.
No, they don't. They're totally separate companies. Disney.
Right.
The only thing they have in common is like the CEO of Disney makes money from them.
Right.
That's
And when
like-
Facebook and perhaps the infrastructure, and when Facebook acquired Instagram, people really were doubting whether Mark Zuckerberg was going to let Instagram CEO Kevin Systrom maintain control. And they did add ads, but if you look at the Instagram sign-in screen, there's not even a sign-in with Facebook button.
Yeah. Okay.
They've-
So,
But
They
at the same
really
time,
have-
like there's clearly, and I think this is what's interesting about WhatsApp is there's like I see people's Instagram pictures all over Facebook now.
Mm-hmm.
They're everywhere, and it's like there's a really easy connection between those two things, and they win together. And,
Yeah.
and I think there's huge opportunity for them to do that with WhatsApp, where it's like if
I don't think they're
alt-
gonna. I don't think they're gonna for a
going
long
to
time.
as well.
I think Jan is no ads. He wants to stay independent. He's
No,
got
but
a
I'm not
seat on the
saying
board.
ads. I'm saying like what Facebook offers them is a value add. What Facebook can say is like, oh, you want to talk to all your friends? You know who has all of your friends is me. It's right here.
Yeah.
And I can just plug in all your friends. You don't have to. You can use it however you want. And this is what happens. This is what Instagram is too. Like you can plug
tell you
Facebook
what, though,
and Instagram together as much as you want
I
or
think
not.
you
And like
are-
that's really smart.
I think you are risking your brand when you put Facebook next to whatever it is that Facebook just bought. I mean, whenever Facebook
It was WhatsApp, by the
Right.
way, that they just.
Yeah. Well, I'm talking about any company that Facebook.
What is that?
or-
Tell me more.
What's that?
So have you ever noticed
hate
that
you.
when a massive company, let's say Google or Facebook, buys a smaller company, that people somehow think that the smaller company, maybe for good reason, they think they're selling out
For
And
$16
they
billion.
They basically raid the App Store comments saying, "How dare they? I'm quitting right now." People don't want.
Yeah, but people
Facebook,
hate
any
everything.
ne-
Yeah.
I think that's there's this tiny little group that forms the 100,000 people strong against the new Facebook, and
Right.
they get 38 people to like it, and that's like. But we see that, and that's like.
I'm
I
just
think
saying-
most people. I think most people really like Facebook, and B, most people don't care. Like I don't
Yeah.
think it's going to change anyone's WhatsApp experience.
Yeah. So
that
there's
it's
two
owned by
things.
Facebook
One,
or
is it
not.
going to ruin WhatsApp? And I don't think so.
I mean,
think
does
it's going
Facebook
to
have a
for a
history
while.
of
It's
ruining
gonna hold
anything?
up.
I don't think
No.
it really does.
Facebook.
They've killed a bunch of apps. Like they bought Dropio, right? I really like
Yeah.
Dropio, and then they bought it and just immediately shut it down.
But-
and I was pissed about that. But
so-
they've never kept something alive and ruined it.
Yeah.
except
The second
Facebook.
question is this going to fix messaging? Like Ellis and I always complain, like, messaging is
it's so
fragmented.
bad.
There's Hangouts and there's WhatsApp and there's Kakao and there's Line and there's Google Talk and whatever else. And
What
like,
was that third one you said?
Yeah, I don't know. Kakao.
Is that a thing?
Yeah.
Oh, it's
Kakao
huge.
Talk.
In
Yeah, yeah.
South Korea,
yeah.
Really?
everyone uses Kakao Talk.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
All your friends.
So
My friends. Hey, friends.
with Facebook money, are they going to be able to like? I want the messaging fragmentation problem fixed. Having one company in control of it isn't really my ideal solution, but at least it's a solution. If everybody just uses WhatsApp from now on, sure.
But there's no other way to solve your problem except that.
No,
Dieter, you're going to complain because WhatsApp isn't on desktop.
you know who doesn't control?
You want email.
Yeah,
is what you want.
that's
You
I
want
email.
You
Right.
want faster email.
I want
A
SMS that doesn't
federated
gouge me.
standard. You want a federated standard that everyone agrees on,
Yeah,
which is
which-
never going to happen
Right.
again.
We forgot how to make those.
Right.
Yes, we did.
Well, they
Yes, we did.
they're slow. And nobody can agree on one thing. Nobody can agree on what they want the standard to be, what they want, how they want it to work,
Right.
and that's why it's not going to happen. But so you just said WhatsApp. I feel like you'd be pretty upset if everybody switched to WhatsApp and you couldn't text from your computer.
Nah.
I would. That's the only reason I use an iPhone.
Yeah,
I message from my
I
computer.
love
I just took
texting
the
on my
SIM card
computer.
out of my iPhone.
Really?
Yeah, because
Oh,
I
yeah,
broke
you're
it.
back.
Yeah. I dropped
That's
it.
fair.
And the thing
Yeah, you
popped
did-
off.
you did
I,
drop it.
I super glued it though, which I feel really good about.
So let's talk about some stats. Combined, these two companies command in an absolutely enormous portion.
Yeah, but that's
of
a
the
crazy
world's
number. Like, I'm sure their
photo
Venn diagram
uploads.
is like.
But
Yeah.
you know what WhatsApp also has is 200 million voice messages sent per day.
Yeah, that was surprising to me.
And Facebook's calling has been, I don't know, a soul that uses it.
Yeah,
But people are
they've got
clearly-
I
It's
forgot
insane,
about that.
Yeah, people.
Can I leave somebody a voice? I'm gonna.
You
just
can.
keep
You
going.
can't do it on the web for some reason. It's in their
Oh,
Messenger app, and
that's terrible.
you can hit the little I button in the Messenger app and call somebody. But I don't know anybody that uses it. But this is clearly working for WhatsApp.
Yeah.
And I think that this kind of hints at like a future where, like Dieter was saying, Facebook controls all these communication pipes that people are using, and Facebook doesn't care how everybody wants to talk, but they're going to buy any new company that develops a new way for people to talk that people love. And
Sure.
I think that that's the path that we're going down. I mean, Facebook is in some ways, it's like too big to fail, but also too big to innovate in some ways, unless it's on a smaller scale, like with Paper, which was built out of their creative labs. And people
Right.
were saying that the only reason they were able to build Paper was because it was a group of like 10 people.
So, okay, huge ambition from Facebook. Insane. How pissed off is Google right now? So reportedly they
Pretty
offered $10
mad.
billion to WhatsApp, and I think the information posted today that they were they were willing to beat Facebook's $19 billion offer.
Really?
Yeah, they real
Wow.
mad
I mean, if I'm WhatsApp, they made the right call. They absolutely made the right call.
to go with Facebook instead of Google.
Yeah, Google. I mean, I ask if
You want to talk
Facebook
about companies
has
that kill
exactly.
products, right?
Yeah, Google's the company that eats you.
Yeah, like they'd show up and 4 days later they'd be like, "Just kidding, you're on the Gmail team.
Yeah.
We'll never see you again. Bye." Like, you get to deal
Oh,
with.
can I pour
Ouch,
a beer
you know.
on the studio floor
Sorry about your
for
hang-ons.
Sparrow
Pour
right
it out
now?
for
Sparrow,
Sparrow.
that's exactly
Can
what I was
just-
thinking.
Can I
of.
just do this right here?
Oh God, that was upsetting.
My producer John says I'm not allowed to pour the.
Yeah,
No, but it's
especially
like,
something like
first of all, I really do think, and actually, if that's true and Google was willing to beat it, I actually think
Yeah.
it says a lot about what WhatsApp is doing and what Facebook has brought to the table, which is Disney, right? Like
Yeah.
they have all this money. They're like, here, you have all the money, all the resources, and all the talent you could possibly need, and also we'll leave you completely
I
alone.
want a Facebook theme park.
That's the dream.
Yeah.
It's like, give it time.
Imagine Zuckerberg
Gonna
building
happen.
Epcot Center.
What if Disney just bought Facebook?
Oh my
Tomorrow they were just like, we just bought Facebook. And now we own Facebook. It's going to happen. You heard it here first, people. Disney,
not the Epcot
Disney's
dome,
buying
it's
Facebook.
Mark Zuckerberg's teenage afro.
It's just Mark Zuckerberg.
No, it's his pecs.
He just lives there now.
flexes. It's a giant building of his. Never mind.
Yeah.
I also really like the story that they finalized the sale on Valentine's Day. It was like Mark Zuckerberg's
Yeah, he, like,
awkward
showed up for,
Valentine's
like,
Day present.
chocolate-dipped
He's like, here's
strawberries.
$19 billion.
Yeah.
Congratulations. Happy Valentine's Day.
Wow.
Be a good Valentine's Day present.
So do you
is-
guys use WhatsApp? Because it's
No,
not.
I
Yeah,
was just gonna
nobody
ask
in the
you
U.S.
that.
uses it.
No, I mean, I also think that's partly what Facebook is
Yeah.
buying. Like everybody talks about the next billion, right? And it's like those are the people we want, are the people
Yeah,
who
WhatsApp
don't
is
currently
halfway there.
use. Right.
Right.
That's like the next billion is going to use WhatsApp, and like it's already out
Yeah.
there. And that's
So-
I guess if you can't get there, just buy your way in.
You
And
really
it works.
You really just need to look at one chart, and there's this chart that that I found online, sourced from Onovo. Onovo, I don't know.
It's a Facebook bought them.
It's
too,
an
didn't
analytics.
they?
Yeah, they did.
Probably.
So what it says is
have
in
crazy
countries,
data.
it basically has all the top apps in different regions around the world. And if you look at the United States, Facebook Messenger is leading. But in a place like Spain, of all the messenger apps, 97% of people use WhatsApp, whereas 13% of people use Facebook Messenger. And
What's
and-
the? Is there a name for this chart?
Let me see if I can
show
get
this
it.
Describing the chart is
Let me see if
really,
I can get
really
it on
good
the
video.
I'm picturing it in my
yeah,
mind's
yeah,
eye.
I'm sending it over.
No, but I think countries like Spain are not where it gets really interesting. Places like China and places like India and places like Africa are where this gets interesting, because those are the places that are now like really in a real way coming online fast. And there's this. I mean, we've sort of seen it with Facebook to some extent. Like there's this crazy inertia. Everybody talks about like, you stop being cool and you die, and like that's not true. Microsoft's not cool. Microsoft's doing just fine. Like Facebook's not cool in the US anymore, and everybody still uses Facebook.
That's why I think that all the companies that they're going to acquire going forward, unless they're like acqui-hiring or unless they're doing I think they're going to let them operate independently so they don't
Yeah.
jeopardize what they've built. That's
Yeah.
kind of the conglomerate angle.
Right. No, it's
And-
totally true. I mean,
Yeah.
but I still think that like what part of what Facebook wants, this is that chart, by the way, and this is wild, actually.
Yeah.
So you
Like
can see Facebook
88%.
Messengers, Facebook
TechCrunch,
Messengers
put
in the
this
blue.
together.
Look at that. Cacao killing it in South
Yeah.
Korea.
Yeah.
killing it, and then just nowhere else. That's great.
What's funny, it's
wow, these are big numbers.
Yeah.
and Viber, which Rakuten just bought for $900 million,
Come on.
isn't even on the chart. I don't see it.
Yeah, I mean, I do think this is the huge growth industry that nobody has been talking about for a long time because it's already so
And
big.
there are billions more people to get phones
right.
in the next 10 years.
Right. And nobody in Silicon Valley thinks about how important text messages are.
Apparently
most of the time,
they do.
But they do now. But I mean, WhatsApp's been out there for a long time, and
Yeah.
they've been super popular for a long time. And even we the press don't talk about WhatsApp. Mm-hmm. It's just like the huge company that nobody's ever heard of, except that everybody uses.
Yeah.
It's really bizarre.
I don't talk about like my electricity bill
Right.
either.
Right.
I mean,
You don't
Actually,
talk about
I did.
Con Ed
Yeah.
with your buddies?
Con Ed in New York
I talk
is
about
the
Con Ed
worst.
with my buddies all the time.
By the way, if you are listening to the show or watching the show and you work for Con Edison,
I hate you.
I hate you so much.
So let me ask you guys, what other communication spaces could you see Facebook
I was just going to
going
ask you
into?
that. What's next? What else? What
I
other
asked you first.
crazy
Now you
popular
have to.
app is
Now
out
you're
there?
on the spot.
There's nothing like I don't know what's worth a bunch of money.
Twitter.
Twitter.
Like I'm not totally kidding.
What about
I think
video
they're
chat?
too big at this point.
Video chat, like who cares about video chat right now?
Skype is
Dude,
the only
teens, man.
Skype is like the thing.
Teens are video chatting still. I don't know about you. You're
What are
antisocial.
they using though? I think
They're using weirdo apps like Uvu.
God, Uvu. I
And
was afraid you were going to
Skype.
say
So
that.
bad.
And
Doesn't Cisco own Uvu?
not
think they
totally
do.
clear.
Yeah.
Somebody does. But yeah, I mean that would be interesting. Except that that Skype sold for what was it, $8.5 billion? Like
Yeah.
there's that.
Yeah.
So somebody beat them to the biggest player.
That'd be
there.
Microsoft.
It would be Microsoft. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what else there is. And like
I think I could see them
This is a
buying
huge
like
one.
a really big social games company that is proven success.
Well,
Not just with one game.
yeah. I mean that's the Zynga thing. Like that didn't work out.
yeah,
so
that
hot.
went not great for them.
I'm not
Not
talking
very
about Zynga necessarily. I'm talking about something more like along the quiz up line of things that isn't freemium. That's more like
But is that
But
for
it-
Facebook at this
no.
point? Is that a big enough?
It's about
play?
communications. Like you need to think you need to think of him as Zuckerberg as a robber baron. Instead of building railroads, he's building everything we use to talk to each other or
I think,
buying it.
But
So
he
games,
wants to be
sure, but
everywhere all
whatever.
your friends are. Is really what it is. Like,
I don't think it's about friends.
No?
No, I think
I mean, that's what
it's-
Instagram is. Instagram is only sort of tangentially a communication.
I think he
tool.
wants to be the layer just above like the pipes.
Yeah.
He wants to
I
be
agree.
between you and like, the wire.
God, is Facebook the next Comcast where like everybody hates them and it turns out they run the world anyway?
Yeah.
what's funny is that
That's
that's
what
what a
I'm
lot of
saying.
people
That's
think
upsetting.
like Facebook wants to be in developing countries. You
Yeah.
know, with Facebook for every phone, they're like, oh, I don't know what the internet is. I just know what Facebook is.
Yeah.
They build the login identity, but plumbing for a bunch of apps. People
Yeah.
use it because it's easier to hit that button than create a new password for every single freaking app.
Yeah. No, it's true. I logged into an extraordinary number of things with Facebook.
Yeah, after you're like,
is
no, I'm not
sorta
going to do it.
terrifying.
No, and then eventually you're like, fine. And then once you do it that first couple of times, that's it. They got you.
So you know, it's
There
the
you go.
fun underdog story of this is that the founders were rejected from Facebook and Twitter a few
Yeah.
years ago as
Yeah, yeah.
employees, and
Whoopsies.
now they're like, "What's up?
And now they have all of the money.
Sign that check."
All of the money.
Yeah.
Do we know how much the founders made? They probably don't
I
split
think
that out.
they owned.
They're definitely one of them is gonna like Instagram
It's like
a picture
6
of their
billion
bank account
for the
and-
for one of them.
Yeah,
Really?
I think Jan owned something like
Wow.
35%.
because they
of the
only took
company.
a small amount of venture capital, right? So like it was a very tiny number of people involved in this, and they all made so much money.
That's a pretty
sounds all right.
outstanding
I'd be into that.
return.
Yeah, they did good.
Right.
Was it Sequoia that
Yeah,
was
it
like
was
the only
Sequoia.
company
That was
invested
the
in
only
them?
company.
Yeah, so they
insane.
invested. They had a $250,000 seed round from whatever. Sequoia invested $8 million, and then a little bit later, like, well, you know what, we should get an insurance policy. Let's get another $50 million. When they got the $50 million, the founder took a picture of WhatsApp's bank account. This is from a Forbes article, and
Yeah.
it was over $8 million. They hadn't dug into any of that original investment.
Wow.
Yeah, good company.
Wow. Yeah, I mean it was,
Was it
it was like
42 people?
yeah.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, it's crazy.
And they work out of some office with no sign. Hard to know who's doing anything there. They say just come around back and knock on the door.
This is a
I
front
think
for the
that's
mob.
what people were
Yeah.
saying.
it's
Yeah.
definitely a front for the mob. I don't
Right.
care what anybody says.
Let's talk about something else that's fragmented and
Wait, hold on.
terrible.
No, I
Oh,
have one more question, and then we
right.
can move on. Yeah,
Had a good
that's
transition, though.
was
Wasn't
good.
that so good?
Just come right back to that.
It's too late now.
Are you going to start using WhatsApp?
Yeah,
Yeah,
for like 2 days.
that's fair.
Yeah.
I'm definitely gonna download it and be like, this is ugly, because it is. It's so
Doesn't
ugly.
matter.
I hope this is the one thing I hope Facebook pulls off, is that they like, Facebook clearly has good design. Like the Facebook Messenger app is really beautiful.
Well-
Paper is really nice. And if they would just like, some head of design at Facebook just needs to sit down with the WhatsApp guys and be like, listen,
I was wondering
I
about that.
understand that you're your own company. It's totally cool.
You guys are green,
I'm just
we're blue.
I'm just gonna punch you in the face every single day until you make your app better looking. Mm-hmm. And then they're just gonna do it.
I'll tell
That's
you
what I want.
I think it's part of their charm.
That's
it was.
not a thing.
No, it is.
Look how ugly it is. It's so charming. No.
Yeah.
No.
Yes.
Yeah, it kind of is.
Snapchat's looks and bugs cultivated some sort of trust early on, I think, because you know, if
People want to
something
root
is
for the underdog. Like, it's very.
yeah, but if something
the
is
more-
extremely polished and you know, you think the production value is big and you think there's a lot of money behind it, and where there's money,
Sure, it's why people like to root
there's
for
trouble.
indie movies. Yeah.
Right.
Ugh.
So here's what
Except
somebody
now
just
there's money. There's $16
listen
billion.
to this. So
They
I'm
have
not,
money.
I'm not going to start using WhatsApp, but apparently it is so pervasive some
Remember, unless
places
you're on
around the
WhatsApp,
world.
it says you're busy right now.
That's not possible. Well, I am busy.
I'm sending
but
you a message right now.
I dare you.
Are you on
I just
WhatsApp?
did.
Can I do it from my computer? No, I don't
so
care.
somebody just tweeted at me, apping someone, as in sending someone a WhatsApp message, is in the Dutch dictionary.
Actually, I'm.
Unless this guy completely made it up.
Wait,
for
so
no
is
reason.
this the verb now?
I don't
Because you
know.
Facebook,
Apping-
do you app somebody?
No.
App me?
No.
I hate that.
That-
That's awful. But that's, I mean, if it's in the dictionary, that's what it is. Like,
I
the
definitely-
worst thing
I
about Google
definitely-
Hangouts is that I don't know what to say to somebody when I message them on Google
Say,
Hangouts.
Yeah.
hang out with me.
I'm like, hey, I hanged you. Like, that's weird. Not gonna
Yeah.
say
That's
that.
also bad.
Or like, I outed you. Nope, that's not good either.
That's not
No,
cool.
it just doesn't work. I hanged you out. Like,
And Hangouts just doesn't work.
I
on
whatsed
iOS,
you.
So that's
no,
cool.
God, it's so bad on iOS.
I don't know, man. I'm gonna app you definitely sounds like a deviant sexual act.
Or like a sort of subtle thing you would say on the phone in case your phone is being bugged, but you're definitely going to murder them. This is all back to my theory that WhatsApp is just a front for the mob. And Facebook is like, they just bought the world's mob for $16 billion and now they can be in every country they want. That's my theory. I'm sticking to it. All right, let's move on.
Loop Wallet. So this is mobile payments thing, right? Mobile payments
you had
are
a good
all the
segue.
worst.
You had a good segue.
It's too late. It's gone. Let it go.
It was about fragmentation.
It is.
It
This
was
show is-
poetry,
yeah.
Dieter. It was
Let
I was
beautiful.
excited
It's
about
gone. It's gone.
I only just learned how to spell segue.
Sieg.
That's how it sounds when you
Sieg.
pronounce it. For those who don't know, it's SEGUE, not SEGWAY.
The more you
Ellis
know.
Hamburger, ladies and gentlemen.
Fun fact:
Okay, Loop Wallet.
So
Tell us
it's-
about Loop Wallet.
Loop Wallet
LOOP.
is pretty incredible.
I guess it's really called
The
Loop.
technology, at least, it's called Loop.
Yeah.
The app's called Loop Wallet, and there are two form factors out that you can order right now. One is a little square fob with a built-in card reader, and one's like a Mophie-like case. Both of them have magnetic transistors inside of them that let you hold your phone up to any credit card reader, not the ones with the little, Wi-Fi sign on it that you're like, oh, what is that? Google Wallet, MasterCard, PayPass.
Right.
This is any credit card terminal. Well, over 90% of in the United States, you hold it up, you pick the card on your screen, you hit the button, and it somehow beams this magnetic signal to the reader.
Well, it's
And
all
it
just like
thinks-
It's just
the,
it's like brute force, right? It's
It
just like
thinks
magnets.
it's been scanned. I wasn't even aware that these
actually the
reader
sound it
heads
makes.
Yeah.
could be communicated with over the air.
So it'll work with almost everything unless you have to
Yeah.
put your card in. That's great. But it doesn't actually work because everybody's like, what are you doing to my machine?
Right? Are you hacking me?
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, there's
then I'm
this
like,
shot
just
in
let
this
me-
video.
just let me
that-
do it. Just
There's
let me
this
do
shot
it.
in this video that we're playing now where you like, it might actually be this, where you like
walk in.
lean over the counter and you're like, it's cool, I
And
got this.
she was just
I'm just
pointing-
gonna touch your cash register for like 10 seconds.
Look at her
It's
face. Look at her face.
Super normal.
Watch
Don't
this.
worry about it.
She's like, thank
Yeah, she
you.
has no idea what to do with you. This,
Yeah.
you're like, oh, it's fine, I'll just do it. And she's like, what?
She's
she's like,
like-
you
Love it.
just robbed all of
Now
my
in the
money.
cab, that's cool. Just be like,
Yeah.
you're not looking.
Right.
I mean, but the I don't know, like this. I don't know. So you wrote a review, and I was editing this, and we argued about this for like 3 days. I am so unconvinced that this is even a good idea.
So for like slim wallet people like me, I don't care.
Right.
And for people with really thick wallets,
Do you have a George Costanza wallet? Because I
No.
do, and crap.
for people with
just
really
me
thick
then.
Although I do carry
wallets,
cash, so I have a little bit. I'm also, I mean, you're not, your front wallet, right?
No, back wallet.
What?
No, get out. of
Come
here.
on.
No.
You're ruining your
destroying
spine,
back.
yeah.
I actually,
Fine.
so I have to like buy new jeans like every 3 months because my wallet tears through the back pocket of my jeans. This is true, constantly.
Front wallet, man.
No, that's
Telling you.
ridiculous. you are just where am I going to put my chapstick then? Think
So,
about that.
what's
Stop
interesting
carrying
is that-
chapstick around.
Then what's no?
an
Then my
addiction.
lips will fall off.
I've been talking to people about Google Wallet, like Chris Ziegler, and he was saying that when he tried to use it, even though it was officially supported at the stores he went to, they still didn't know what he was doing.
Yeah, no, nobody does. And I think like that's the sort of conclusion you came to that I thought was really interesting is like, even if this works, when you're like, hey, can I pay with my phone? Somebody's gonna be like, what?
No, it's not even just phones.
People know
Everything
how to
is
take
broken
cash,
and terrible
and
in
people know how to
America
pay
when it comes to
credit
payments.
cards.
Like we can't do chip and pin. Europe, everything is
Right.
chip and pin. It's more secure.
Explain what that is.
Thing.
I actually don't totally understand what chip and pin is.
Your card has got two things on it. It's got the regular swipe, but it's got a little encrypted chip on it. And then you tap it, so it's tap to pay. So great. And then instead of signing, you have to punch in a pin.
It's like two factors of verification.
so-
Seems
and
incredibly
they have
logical.
so much less fraud
Yeah.
than here.
Yeah.
So much less fraud.
And we're not doing it with no chip and signature because
We've got
Americans can't
signature.
remember pins.
Signature is the most insane
I
thing
know.
ever.
Have you ever-
I have never ever signed my name the same way twice in a row. It's never happened. I
Never.
just walk up,
Yeah.
I'd like scribble a bunch of things.
Yep.
Like if you steal my credit card, you can have all of it.
Yeah,
because
my checkbook got stolen.
Nobody's gonna find out.
In college, and they were writing checks to Domino's and whatever.
Nice.
And so they were sending me the canceled checks after, and they
Yeah.
charged me for it. I'm dealing with the bank, and it was the worst. And I like you could tell instantly it was forged because they actually like signed my name in full in cursive
Instead of just,
little
like, random
swirlies on the
nonsense
D
scribbles.
and Dietrich. And yeah, I was like, come on, who does that?
You're like, what do
Nobody
I
does
actually
that.
sign my
Yeah.
name?
And then you're like, what did we just prove?
Yeah, right.
I just
Right.
told you it wasn't me.
Right.
So
Wait, but chip and pin is coming to America, right? It's going to be a thing.
Slowly,
Some
but
point.
they're going to go with chip and signature.
So here's what's happening in
I know.
2015.
It's
not that much better.
I know, no, it's not.
At the end of 2015, this was actually also news this week, which was inconvenient for Loop Wallet's launch.
It was like the same day, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's not completely related because the magnetic part is only like half of what Loop's trying to do. But yeah, it certainly kind of undermines one of their points. So, what's happening here? Some camaraderie?
Dieter just loves me. That's all.
He had a rogue wire that was starting to drive me crazy.
Oh,
Getting
okay.
out of control.
So
Took care of it.
anyway, lost my train of thought. I was
Yeah.
watching
Came out the same day.
The Bro Pat.
Chip and pin.
Oh, okay. So by
2015.
2015, end of 2015, if you don't buy a chip and pin reader for your grocery store or coffee shop, you are going to be liable for fraud and not the credit card companies. So that's basically a huge incentive for
That's a
them
power
to buy chip and pin credit card readers, which presumably by that point will also bundle in NFC readers as well.
So this is what I don't totally understand is why, and maybe I'm missing something here, but why have Visa and MasterCard not figured out a better way to solve this problem? Like they're
They don't
just
care.
printing money, so I guess they don't care.
Yeah.
But,
Why do they care?
But it, clearly, like where those two things, like Loop Wallet and the chip and pin thing, make it very clear that the only people who can change this system are Visa and MasterCard.
I mean, when you've
Well,
got
no,
a
the vendor-
duopoly,
the
No, but I'm saying
retail
Visa-
associations.
Right, no, but Visa and MasterCard can show up to the retail association and be like, hey, you're going to change everything in the next 2 years. And they're going to be like, oh, okay, yeah, we'll do that. But like Jack Dorsey rolls up and 80% of people are going to be like, shut up.
So you know what's the funny
cool
thing?
suit, bro.
Is
And then Loop Wallet shows up and they're like, what is that?
Is Starbucks the only place in America where mobile payments are used as often as they are? I think I saw a
Yes.
quote. It was like
Yeah.
more than 25% of
It's
Starbucks
crazy
customers
popular.
are
I think,
using
like,
their phone to pay.
I think McDonald's has a big thing. I don't know.
Starbucks has the
Starbucks is
most.
the biggest by
Yeah.
far. Yeah.
People know what they're doing with Starbucks apps on their phone, and it never ceases to impress me. I'm like,
You know what I wanna do?
you know how to do what? You know how to hold up a QR code to a reader and do this? I was like, I couldn't teach my friends how to do
no,
this.
it's great. I have a bunch of
And
friends.
they don't use their phones any other stores.
No, I have a friend who was like, who makes a budget in Starbucks every month. She buys like a $25 Starbucks gift card, puts it on the app. First day of every month, funnels it up, and then when it's out, it's out. She can't go back to Starbucks for the rest of the month. And it's like that's the best system ever. And it's all on her phone. It's super easy. She like hits the thing, pays with iTunes, and it's done. And then like it's the best thing ever. And it's the same thing when you walk in, you hold up your phone, and they know what to do. You know who else does a good job of that is movie theaters, and they're the only other ones that like when I walk in and I'm like I have it on my phone, they don't freak out.
Yeah.
Otherwise, everybody's like, why? Even like.
Airports.
Yeah,
No,
airports.
I still get like I hand people my plane ticket and they like move it around,
Yeah.
and then they put it on the reader and they're like, "This is it. It goes over." I just it's over here, and then it's like everybody behind me is pissed off. Like it's just not. It's not good.
So, Ellis, you need to go. You need to head over. You're going to be on
No,
the
no,
news
no.
hour?
Listen,
It
Ellis,
got
we're
moved
done
to a
with you.
little
Yeah.
bit later.
It's
If you
basically
want
what
me
we're
to
saying
leave,
is
I
we're
can
We
done.
want
go.
you to get out.
Just please
leave.
go immediately.
You're
If you want to
a
get
lovely
Z,
person.
if you want to get Z Power in here, that's cool. I
Yeah,
understand.
we want to talk about Project Tango, which just got announced today, and it seems completely terrifying and insane.
It's like Her. It's like what's happening in Her, where the person, Scarlett Johansson inside the phone, is seeing through the phone, popping out of his shirt pocket, through his eyes, and seeing the whole world.
That's beautiful.
This is the beginning of that.
Which is amazing, but
AKA
also
the
terrifying, which is like the best thing about everything that Google does.
All right,
Like,
so there's a video. I guess we're going to look at a little bit of it while you
Everything at
leave.
Google seems so friendly on the surface, and now they've got the robo-dogs with 3D vision.
God.
listen, I'm in on that. Project
Skynet.
Tango, I don't know.
Skynet.
All right, thanks,
Thanks,
Alice.
Oh, sure.
Let's check out this video.
My name is Johnny Lee, and I work in the Advanced Technology and Projects Group at Google. Our small team here, based in California, has been working with universities, research labs, and industrial partners to harvest the last 10 years of research in robotics and computer vision to concentrate that technology into a very unique mobile phone. We are physical beings that live in a 3D world, yet mobile devices today assume that the physical world ends at the boundaries of the screen. Our goal is to give mobile devices a human-scale understanding of space and motion.
This is going to allow people to interact with their environment in just a fundamentally different way. We can prototype in a couple hours something that would take us months or even years before because we didn't have this technology readily available.
What happens if you have all of these pieces in a phone? How does that change what a phone is?
We have created a prototype phone containing highly customized hardware and software designed to allow the phone to track its motion in full 3D in real time as you hold it. These sensors make over 250,000 3D measurements every single second, updating the position and rotation of the phone, fusing this information into a single 3D model of the environment.
We have a problem called navigation indoors, and it's a solution to that problem.
It tracks your position as you go around the world, and it also makes a map of that.
Imagine that you scan a small section of your living room and then are able to generate a little game world in it. I don't know of any other controller or gaming device that can do that at the moment.
Putting all this together, they pulled in experts from all around the world and got them all working on the same project.
Those are very high caliber people. Why? It's very simple. I think actually people believe in the vision.
Localization and mapping is there on your phone and you just use it. It's this ability to follow in other people's footsteps.
And we can also benefit from what we do for the project back for the open source community.
Use it for visually impaired, give them auditory cues on where they're going.
You know, being able to map your home. Oh, check out, let me see how this furniture looks in my room.
Virtual windows to sort of different worlds. I mean, the possibilities are really endless.
Over the next few months, we will be distributing dev kits to software developers to develop applications and algorithms on top of this platform. We are just in the beginning, and we know there is a lot more work to do, but we are excited about where it is going to go. The future is awesome, and we believe we can build it faster together.
Well, that was an inspiring and beautiful vision of our terrifying hellscape of a future where Google knows everything about us and our homes. And here to talk about it is Chris Ziegler.
No, I'm still Ellis Hamburger. I look a little different.
Google's so good at making videos.
Yeah.
It's unbelievable. I got to the end of that and I'm actually super afraid of what's coming out of this. And I got to the end of that video and I'm like, yeah.
So this is
know
Google,
about
but
my
it's,
house.
It's ATAP. It's the Advanced Projects thing, which is part of Motorola. And
it's like the only part of Motorola that they kept, right? Was ATAP.
And it's got Johnny Chung Lee, who was on the Connect team and has done a bunch of cool. He did the thing with the Wii remote on top, the top of his head,
and Regina Dugan, who's doing all the crazy tattoos to identify her stuff. They're the ones doing really insane stuff.
So it's a phone that can map 3D space inside and using cameras and gyroscopes and sensors in
which is not especially insane technology. I met with a company months ago that had an add-on for the iPad that could do the same thing, and you just sort of stood there, held the iPad, and spun around in a circle slowly, and it would actually map the room.
Well, and LiDAR has been doing this for, I mean, that's what
Yeah.
Google's using for the self-driving
Right.
cars, right?
Right.
To get like millimeter level accuracy on
But
them.
to have it on a phone and like
Yeah, it's
have
a
it
big
when it's
deal.
in your
That's pretty
pocket and
wild.
it's
Yeah.
tracking you around.
So the really obvious application to me, Google's being like intentionally very vague about where this is going to go because it's just a developer kit at this point.
Yeah.
But you can see how this would have obvious implications for like Street View and like whatever Street View 2.0 is, right? You can see where, you could just arm millions of people with these phones and you can map the interiors of buildings very easily and send that data back to Google. And all of a sudden they've literally mapped every millimeter of every building.
Yeah, and then
it's
the
crazy.
robots will know exactly where to go when they come to kill us.
Right. And they can just be like, I mean, the crazy thing is like, you can be like, I want Doritos. And they can literally like direct you to Doritos.
Right.
And on the one hand, that's awesome. And on the other hand, that's super insanely terrifying.
It is. It is. That is terrifying. But until they get to the point where they can direct me to a specific flavor of Doritos, does it even matter? Is the question.
No, the answer to that question is always Cool Ranch.
True. That's true.
It just assumes it when you put in Doritos. It's like, did you mean Cool Ranch?
Yeah.
And you're like, yes, I did.
You put in Triscuits.
Thank
Did
you,
you mean
Google.
Cool
Yeah.
Ranch Doritos?
Cool Ranch is objectively the best flavor.
I mean, that just isn't true, but that's okay.
Well,
We
okay,
can- we
it's
can talk about
objectively
this.
the best flavor until like it gets in your head, and I'm going to say this to you, and you'll never eat them again.
No,
There's
don't,
kind of
don't,
a kind
I
of
wanna
a
hear it. Don't
little
do
bit
it.
of a
Don't do this to me. Nope.
just a little
Wait, what
don't.
flavor?
Let's
Are we
start
talking
with
Cool
something else.
Ranch. If you just stop and smell it, you're like, oh, dead fish, just kind of rotting fish.
Oh, that's not as bad as I thought it was going to be. I can live with
no,
that.
just a
That's
little.
fine.
Yeah, I thought you were going to say
a little
rotting
bit of day old
corpses.
salmon.
So
Smell.
is this really just
Yeah.
Street View though? Is that
Well,
No.
no, that's just an obvious implication,
Sure.
an obvious application
But,
of
like,
it.
what else
But this was a
is
Motorola
there?
project, not a Google project. So it's not like they
Oh,
were
that's an interesting
planning
point.
Right.
for that anyway. But you can see how that would make a lot of sense.
Sure. But I mean, okay, so I get the things that occur to me are indoor maps, right? So you go to
Indoor maps, yeah.
Macy's and they like tell you what's nearby. This, I mean, on some level to me sounds like it's almost something like iBeacon, where they can be like, you're near this. Let us serve you ads.
So
about it.
assistance for the visually impaired instead of just like don't run into things kind of technology. it
that's
would be
true.
like they could
could actually
convert it
walk
to
you
something you
through
could
something.
see.
Yeah.
See
Right.
the space, and Cool Ranch Doritos. I mean,
And
Cool
games
Ranch
seems to be
Doritos.
the other
Yeah.
thing. Like Ellis points out her, and like you guys have seen this movie, right?
Nope.
No, I
You
have
would-
not seen her.
You know what I have seen though is the first 4 episodes of season 2 of House of Cards.
So there's a scene in her where he's sitting on his couch playing a video game, and the video game is not on a TV; it's just like literally in front of him.
Is this
And
a
he's-
spoiler?
No, it's fine. It's cool. You should watch it. It's a good movie. But he's sitting there, and like to make the guy move, he literally goes like this to like make him run up a hill.
Yeah.
And things like that. It's like when you have actual awareness of your surroundings, you can start to build things like that. Like
Right.
that's not that big a step from I know what your house looks like. But that seems like a weird thing for Google to do.
Right.
But then there's like Ingress. Google makes no sense to me. Is essentially where I'm at right now. I have no idea what Google is doing.
That
as
is
a
the
company.
beautiful
I don't
thing.
think
Like
Google
Facebook
has any
now has
idea.
a mission
but
statement. They're like,
that's-
here's what we do. Google's like, stuff is cool. Let's do that.
But that is what makes Google such an amazing company is that they can literally fund anything they want using AdSense revenue.
Google
that
has all of the money.
That yes,
They really do.
exactly. And so they're just like, let's go do some cool stuff. That's why X exists. That's why they're doing self-driving cars, which aren't even commercializable until
Internet
at least
balloons.
2020. Internet balloons.
Well, so internet balloons makes sense, right? Because it's for them. Like the one thing that I sort of universally get about Google is that the more people they put online, the more people who use Google.
Right.
And the more people you use Google, the more money Google makes.
Which
So
goes
things
back
that-
to Facebook too, by the way.
Right. No, agree.
Yeah.
But so those things are I get those steps. So like Project Loon is on the one hand like a lovely thing to do for people who couldn't get on the internet otherwise, but it makes really obvious business sense. Something like this, it's like I mean, other than the scary thing, which is serving me ads every step I will take every single day, I don't see how this makes any sense for Google.
Well, you can see how
Other than to be
they
like
can-
a cool look at us, we're Google move.
Right, but if you look at it the same way as you look at Project Glass, it's a moonshot where it's not commercialized. I hate to use
Did you
their
just
term.
say that you used the word?
Stay with
can't
me.
even. You've broken me. I can't speak.
Stay
you
with
used
me.
the term moonshot and didn't immediately like call out that you were being
Light
ironic
on
about
fire.
it.
No,
Right.
I called out that I was being non-ironic about it. Like I
That's
hate
what
to
I'm
borrow
saying.
their
Like,
PR term,
you need
but no.
That was a disruptive innovation you just spit out right there.
I'm going to pivot.
Okay.
So Project Glass is not not a near-term thing, right? It's a near-term thing for 1,000 nerds, us included.
Right.
But it's not a near-term thing for the masses. But you can see how in 30 years, everyone is going to be wearing some form of heads-up equipment on their face that will look completely normal. They'll look like Dieter's glasses.
Well,
and I meant that in
I
a
was
good
going
way.
to say,
I meant that,
mostly
I meant that in a good way, not a bad way.
No, but again, that's
so-
the same thing, right? Like that puts more people online more of the time, and that's an obvious win for Google.
What about the robots?
Yes, but-
Explain the robots.
Yeah, no, that's the same.
Explain buying Boston
but
Dynamics.
go back to
Right.
go back
or
to
the self-driving cars.
Go back to Dieter's but go back to Dieter's vision impaired example. You can see how Google could end up making a device that basically leads you to all these retail establishments that
a little
pay
helper
Google.
robot. Is that what you're saying? A little,
An
little
iPhone.
Google,
A little
Google helper
dog
robot.
A next generation
leading you
Sony
around.
Aibo.
Right. That
I'm
leads you
100%
around
in.
and
I changed- I'm-
tracks you, and
Yeah.
everything Google does makes sense. They've never done a single thing that I didn't understand.
No.
I get it now.
It all ties
No, I mean,
together
this
to the
seems
same
like
grand
more
thing.
than anything Google has ever done. This seems like the Minority Report move, where you like walk around and there are ads just blaring at you all the time.
Yeah.
Because if Google then goes to businesses and is like, hey, we know exactly where people are in your store all the time. Give us some money.
No,
it's
no,
like that's such an unbelievable win.
Think
for
about
them.
that. Like if they can accurately map right immediately on the device the 3D space on a computer, they can, on a heads-up display, accurately project stuff onto that surface. Right? So like they can literally put an ad on that wall and that curved chair and whatever else.
Yeah, and it's they own this whole stack
Yeah.
for advertising, and that's super scary. I mean, it's the same thing. Like I met with Apple about iBeacon forever ago, and my question kept being like, this can be terrifying, right? And they were like, yeah, but it won't be. And I was like, but this could be terrifying, right? And they were like, yeah, but it won't be.
It'll be fine.
Well,
It'll be
are you
fine.
excited about iBeacon at MLB this year?
I guess. I mean, this is the same thing. Like, there are ways in which it's super insanely handy. Where like one of the things they were telling me about that I think it's just as a like high level possibility. I don't know if they're actually doing this, but they were like, we can figure out where the shortest bathroom line is, or like where the right food is near you, or we can figure out where you are if something goes wrong. And like that's all really great. But you know what's gonna suck is when you walk in and every single step you take, there's another ad from another vendor that's like, hey, come save $1 on your $13 beer if you come to our thing right now with your iPhone. I don't want that. Like, I don't.
But so you're saying you don't want to save $1?
I don't want to save $1. No, I have
You
no
just want to
interest
pay
in
full
saving
price.
$1. I would rather pay $1 more and not have them serve that ad.
Fair
What
enough.
ties together
That doesn't make
iBeacon a
any
little
sense
bit,
what I
but
just said,
definitely
but main
Facebook with
form.
that Disney metaphor, and now Google.
Sure.
Like we can't think of these companies the way that we used to. They're giant conglomerates now.
Yeah.
It's like
I think
you need to
especially
think of them like
Google.
GE in the 80s that just did everything.
Yeah.
Right? They bought NBC and everybody was like, yeah, okay, whatever. That's your GE. That's what you do. Right? Like that's what, like when Google does some crazy shit, we just have to be like, yeah, Google.
Google.
We don't know. They can't stop spending money and doing weird things.
Yeah. It's weird that Apple is like the most cohesive of all of these.
Oh, yeah.
And
Well,
the
it's not
biggest
that
of
weird.
I guess.
Why-
I mean,
yeah.
Apple, like of all companies to just like,
How hard
throw
must it
money
be
at random things to see
be
what's
at
going
Apple
on.
and be in charge of R&D and not just like release the weird crap you're making?
Right, exactly. Because what's their cash on hand? Like $140 billion
Yeah,
or
it's over
something?
100 billion. Yeah.
Like Tim Cook could have rolled up with like a bunch of nickels and
They
bought
could have
WhatsApp.
bought like 6 WhatsApps.
Yeah, exactly. And yet they don't, which is really interesting. And I don't know why, to be honest, because like it's not a bad strategy, this conglomerate move where they're like,
It's kind of a bad.
no, but
it's
Google and
very
Facebook
hedged,
are both
though, right?
so. It is, but Google and Facebook are both so big enough, and their thing is so like fundamentally well known and well understood that there's no danger in branding. It's the same with Disney. Like,
Right.
when you hear Disney, you think Disney World. That's just a thing, and they got so big doing that they were like, we can do whatever else we want, and people are going to think of our core. competence.
When I hear Disney, I think Rescue Rangers.
That's super weird.
Well, one of the reasons that
Awesome,
GE
but super weird.
One of the reasons that GE has been around for 140 years and still seems to be a fundamentally sound company is the fact that they have been hedged for so long. Like they're in so many different businesses that when one is up, the other is down, and it just kind of all evens out.
Yeah.
That can't be said for a company like Apple, right, which has virtually all of its eggs in one basket.
Right.
And to your point, yeah, why
Well,
not?
they got like 3 baskets.
Yeah, but 3 fundamentally similar baskets.
GE's fundamental thing was light bulbs, right?
Yes.
And that's the thing. That's what I associate still with GE. And like anything else that comes from GE, it's like, oh, it's GE. They make light bulbs.
Right.
Like I don't even know if they make light bulbs anymore. But they built a thing and did it so big and complete that they then could do whatever else
Are
they
you old
wanted
enough to
without
remember their
killing
old
that brand.
tagline?
Maybe.
We bring good things to life.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. checking?
They used to have a really nice typeface too. Then they changed it. And now
Their logo is terrible looking. I'm on their Wikipedia page. It's super.
Is it still the
ugly.
cursive GE? Mm-hmm. Oh, it's awesome. It's a great logo.
It's like 100 years old.
But it's like it's also in like a washing machine, and it's like I don't know.
It's
weird.
awesome.
It's in a it's in a GE washing machine.
But yeah, so you can see how Google is just kind of like throwing stuff at the wall in every conceivable direction, and even if one of them, say for example, they figure out how to make people live forever, which is a business that then they will be in really good shape.
That's true. They're going to be on the internet a lot if they live forever. Yeah.
Is there anything that Google could do where you would seriously go like, I don't like really?
If they bought Applebee's.
If they bought Applebee's?
Yeah.
I don't know. We would find a way that it made sense.
They would just
for
put
them.
fiber in all of the Applebee's everywhere in the world, and you'd have super fast internet.
You're right.
And they would like kill the coffee shop office with Applebee's.
By the way, can I just say that this seat where I'm sitting is Josh's seat, and in every Vergecast he comes on and he complains about his hair. It's this seat. Because mine just started going
You haven't
crazy.
moved your mic at all. It's really upsetting. Like I don't even know how to look
complaining
at you right
about
now.
my mic. Yeah, no, this seat ruins hair.
I mean, your hair does look terrible.
It's.
I'll just be honest.
What is going on with the? We should move on and talk about. This is the worst.
Should we talk about Mobile World Congress? That's coming up next week.
Well, no, we should talk about Mobile World.
We should talk about Mobile World Congress.
It's more exciting than the internet being the worst because the FCC has no guts.
Can Google buy the FCC? Is that a thing?
Oh God,
is that allowed?
Kind of. Do I wish they would?
Well,
I mean, they capitulated to Verizon on wireless.
They could certainly buy the United States, in which case they would own the FCC automatically.
That's a good point.
Right. How many WhatsApps do you think the FCC costs?
Wait, so is this going to be the new thing? Everybody talks about it in terms of Instagram. Are we going to be like, they bought it for 1/32 of a WhatsApp?
Yeah.
Poor Kevin.
That's awful. Yeah, I know.
I feel so bad for the guy.
Well, it's funny, the idea of Google buying the FCC, because paying for it is actually the real problem, because the FCC won't man up and classify broadband as a common carrier like a telephone, like a telecommunications line. They're going for this middle path again. And they're doing it because going the common carrier route would be World War III because of all the money from the cable industry in Congress.
It is really funny that World War III is just like a bunch
could
of really
buy
pissed off lobbyists.
The FCC, that's what they got to do.
Like lobbyists throwing money at each other is World War III.
Yeah, if you look at,
Sounds great.
I think you can tell that Tom Wheeler, who is the recently installed chairman of the FCC, feels very bound and tied by Verizon versus FCC, the ruling that came out recently, which we've written about extensively. Check out Addie Robertson's coverage if you haven't already, because it's very good.
She just writes like one really angry thing every 48 hours. It's really great.
And it's great.
Yeah.
So you can tell that he feels unsure about how to proceed, and he feels like the FCC is just like kind of dead in the water here. So he put out this long list. He had been saying for
you say unsure, and I hear I don't see that. I mean, I see that, but like behind it, I see fear, trepidation, and something really slimy, because he just came from the cable industry. The guy who used to be in charge of the FCC is back in the cable industry.
I think that's a little unfair for a couple reasons.
Okay.
I'm warming up to Tom Wheeler. There was a lot of trepidation about the guy when he took the office, which was totally fair. But you kind of need to consider the fact that when he was at NACTA, which is the cable organization, it was seriously the underdog. Like, all kidding aside, like, the cable industry was a non-entity.
In the early mid-'80s? Yeah.
And he left before they got big, but he was like fighting from the underdog position. And the same argument could kind of be made with the CTIA. Like, he left in 2001, 2002, something like that.
The CTIA is a wireless version of the cable industry as a group.
Right.
Yeah.
And then he's kind of been floating around in investment firms since then.
Look, I mean...
But anyway, my point, what I was getting to is that he put out this long list of things that the FCC is going to do. And if you read through the list of bullet points, everything is kind of like, we'll wait and see. We'll wait and see. We'll consider this carefully. We'll talk about this. But there are
that's fine. But it's like, we'll wait and see. We'll wait and see. You're saying that like it's a reasonable thing.
No, I'm
You're
not.
saying that like it's not completely obvious what the FCC should do here. Isn't it completely obvious what broadband is?
Yes. No, it is completely obvious.
So why does everybody see it except for who?
Tom Wheeler.
Tom Wheeler, chairman of the FCC, and the cable companies.
Well,
I mean, I'm just doing the math.
Right. I think that he is a realist about being a politician in Washington, D.C.
I mean, you've seen House of Cards.
So
it's
that's
all
what drives
about
me crazy.
The money.
Is, like
that's It just is. And they all have so much money.
Yes, they do.
So much money.
He's being a realist. He's being very cautious. Is the way I.
Sure.
You give him the benefit of the doubt. Don't write him off yet.
I'm okay. I have the tiniest bit of non-desperate feelings. I won't call it hope, but I won't call it.
There's no question.
Complete and utter.
I think we can all agree, without question, that the state of the internet and of the internet industry right now, as it stands, is completely miserable and terrible, and makes us all want to die. It's a terrible thing, and it's Tom Wheeler's job to fix that. And there's a lot of weight on his shoulders, not just in the cable industry, but in the wireless industry, as there always is.
Yeah.
So we'll see.
Fair enough. All right, let's talk about Mobile World Congress.
Yeah, so it's starting Monday, Sunday,
It
Monday?
kicks off in earnest on Monday. There's some stuff on Sunday, but
Right.
it mostly happens Monday. And we have a bunch of folks there.
Yep.
It's gonna be great.
Going to be a way bigger show than last year.
Yeah.
We're expecting Samsung to actually announce something at the show, which we
Some
thought they were
things,
done.
plural.
Yeah.
We thought they were done showing off big important stuff
That's
at
very
big
surprising.
shows, and now they're like, nope, we're gonna go ahead and do Mobile World Congress.
I wonder if it's because Mobile World Congress was so bad last year that they were like, we can
It's
just take
bad
over the
last
show
year.
and
No,
do
you're
it this
absolutely
year.
right. It's cyclical. It's like when the shows get soft, they're like, oh, we can use it now.
Right.
And then when the show gets big, they're like, screw this. We're going to go do our own
Guys,
thing.
we're going to bail.
So S5, the new Galaxy phone, and apparently it's gonna have a fingerprint scanner. We talked about this on the Verge Mobile Show, which you should listen to. It's great.
It's great. It's a fantastic program.
Listen to it ever.
We recorded from a jail cell this week. It was amazing.
We did.
And then not one but multiple Galaxy Gears, which
Didn't the Galaxy Gear just
came
come
out like 3 days ago.
I mean, I guess good for Samsung for being like, okay, we screwed up. This is bad. Let's try again.
Oh,
and
you're
that's kind of
giving them-
Samsung's move.
You're giving them too much credit. There's
Yeah,
no
maybe.
indication that the new Galaxy Gear will be any better
That's
than
a fair
the
point.
current
This
one.
is
They're
this
like, we
is a-
screwed up. Let's do it again.
This is
Yeah.
a company
Let's run
that
it back.
had its second
how big
generation
that thing is.
tablet ready to
Ugh.
go. And then Apple announced the new super thin iPad, that was the 2 that was ridiculous thin. And within a matter of 3 weeks, they scrapped their whole tablet and came out with one that's the same thickness.
I mean, this is the insane thing about
they just turned it around.
This is the insane thing about Samsung that is the most underrated feature of Samsung is they can make anything unbelievably quickly at incredible scale.
Yeah.
And so Samsung's ability to just rinse and repeat is insane.
Yeah.
And I think that's eventually going to be the story of the Galaxy Gear. They're going to get to a point like they did with the Galaxy S phones where it was it was bad and then it was slightly better and then it was slightly better and then it was good and then it was really good. And they're and now nobody cares because it's really good and Samsung can do it so fast and take so many chances that it's not going to matter.
Here's the difference, though. With the Galaxy S, the smartphone, the concept of a smartphone.
Actually, the first
and what
Galaxy S's were pretty good too.
Yeah,
They were
not
pretty
bad.
good.
I'd Captivate, solid phone.
But with the Galaxy S, the concept of what a smartphone was supposed to be was already well established. With wearables, there's still no clear indication what a wearable is supposed to be and what kind of wearable people want.
Yeah.
Right. Well, and Samsung
and the other
as
thing
leader is a lot less established.
Right.
Samsung as fast
using
follower is
its
great.
sledgehammer to force people to. It's marketing sledgehammer to get people to buy its smartphone. It's okay, that doesn't affect.
They've
my
made
life.
such good ads for the
Doing
Gear.
it with wearables, though, I have to look at these stupid things.
Yeah.
See people struggle with them, and
You don't like the digital boil?
dude. It's so bad. So anyway,
It's
multiple
the grossest
gears,
thing I've
right?
ever heard.
Multiple gears, great.
And
then,
HTC is
HTC
supposedly
multiple
doing-
wearables.
Oh,
And-
wait. But we need to discuss new Galaxy Gear Tizen instead of Android.
Yeah, wait.
Let's not. Let's no. I don't care if it runs Android or Tizen. Just don't suck.
I mean,
I don't want Tizen on my phone because I want apps, but there's no app ecosystem for wearables.
Right.
So I don't care what operating system it runs.
As long
Whatever
as it
one
plays nicely with your
is
phone.
really good is gonna pick up an app ecosystem.
You know what's going to? I'm
fine.
gonna put a terrible thought
I mean,
in your
that's what
heart.
Pebble has done, right? They
Right.
have theirs as their
I'm gonna
own
put
thing.
it. I'm
gotta
gonna
spite
put
their
a
operating
nightmare of a
system.
thought in your heart
Pebble
and soul.
running Tizen.
No, even worse. What's
no.
going to happen is Pebble is going to develop such a lead with their app ecosystem that the killer app for the next Galaxy Gear is going to be a Pebble emulator that allows you to run Pebble apps.
That would be
great.
amazing.
I'm all in. and then Google will buy them or Facebook will buy them, and I won't have any idea why. But so HTC's ones are
so they won't
supposedly
have
what's
the phone.
happening is what I'm
They're
very
doing
excited
the
about.
phone later,
Right.
March 25th.
But they're potentially doing a watch based on the Qualcomm Talk that
Right.
you reviewed forever ago.
I did,
Which
and
was-
and I'm really hopeful that if this happens, it will not use the same wristband, which is the worst wristband in the
It's
history of
really
wristbands.
insane.
It's so bad. There are two things that made it really bad. One was the fact that the band was touch sensitive. So you would just like randomly touch it and things would happen. And then the battery was at the very bottom of the band for no apparent reason.
yeah.
So it was really uncomfortable.
You couldn't,
the
like, put
only
it down
good
on a
thing
tip.
about
Yeah.
that Qualcomm Talk,
It's
that
also
prototype,
huge. You
was
forgot that
the Mirasol screen, right?
Right.
Which is I've been looking at Mirasol technology at trade shows since I started going to trade shows.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's
been
just
6 or 7
it's
years.
just
Like,
objectively-
you trundle over to Qualcomm's booth and they'd have this little postage stamp thing, and there'd be no backlight. You'd be like, oh my god, it's a color screen with no backlight. It works.
Yeah.
And just every year the postage stamp got bigger and bigger, and now it's big enough to be a watch.
Yeah.
So if they get rid of all the crappy parts about the Qualcomm Talk watch, which is literally everything but that display, and they make something
Fair.
with that display,
If they just get rid of
sure,
it's a solid name. The Talk's not a bad name.
No, it isn't.
it's a pretty
not a bad
bad name for a
I don't know,
watch.
maybe-
Actually, on the back of the package, if I remember correctly, it says Tick, and then it shows like an old school watch, and then it says Talk, and then it shows.
That's pretty good. It's pretty good.
Yeah.
No, but I think like Mirasol is just objectively like
Cool.
good.
It's great. It was
and-
made. Its fate was to be in a smartwatch,
Yeah.
basically.
I also really like that our piece says there's just a sentence in this piece which Rich wrote for us based on a Bloomberg thing, which says HTC has 2 other wearable devices in the works, including an electronic bracelet that plays music. Like what? What is that? This is
This is a company that can't afford to make a bunch of random crap.
Right.
Google can do whatever it wants. It can make balloons that fly
Oh
into
my
space
God.
and give you internet.
You know what this thing is gonna be
HTC
called?
needs to focus.
This is gonna be called the Boom Wrist.
No.
I guarantee
No.
it. The Boom Wrist.
You're so right.
Yep.
This is the most
HTC
upsetting thing
boom
I've ever
wrist.
heard.
Wait,
It's
what,
just gonna
wrist
have
boom?
Beats logos all over it.
Yep.
No, I thought they were done with Beats.
You're
Just
never
boom.
done with Beats. No one's
Yeah,
ever done
you
with
can never
Beats.
escape Beats.
Nope.
It's like the Hotel California of sound systems. Like,
Never ends. And then a Google Now smartwatch,
Yeah.
which seems super obvious.
Yeah, but
and
apparently
makes a lot
none of
sense.
this stuff is going to be shown to humans at Mobile World Congress.
Oh, really?
It's going to be like backroom meetings
They're
where
like,
they
"We're
try
doing
and
a
sell
thing."
it. Is what I think the
interesting.
Bloomberg report said.
Okay.
so do you think with the Google Now smartwatch, do you think it's conceivable that this is going to be like Google's Nexus smartwatch? Do you think this will be an official
That
partnership?
would be interesting. And I will say,
Wouldn't
like,
it be weird if that came from HTC?
do you
though?
guys use Google Now?
Yeah, all the time.
Really?
I
All the
just
time.
started again because I realized that it got a lot better than last time I tried it.
It's gotten way better, but it's still like,
but
Really?
it's like terrifyingly
I use
good
it most
now.
when I travel.
Really?
Like, it's
I'll
fantastic.
load
for
it
when I
up and
travel.
I'll load it up and it'll be like, "Yo, like your package got delivered." And I'm like, I don't even know what package you're talking about. Like it just
Sometimes I order
knows
packages.
things.
Yeah.
It knows really terrifying things about my life
Yeah,
that I
no,
don't know.
Yeah, I agree. No, and the thing that I love about now is the like just little bits of like things that are happening.
Yeah.
And it's like it just reminds me of like things I have to do today.
Yeah.
Or like emails that I have.
Or like
and-
here's the game you forgot was on. Here's the score.
Yeah, right.
You know, like
yeah, no, it's great, and it's so much better than it used to be. And I mean, we've been saying for forever that since the beginning of Google Now, it was like, oh, this would be good for wearable devices.
Right.
It's like it'd be so nice if I could just look at my watch and it's like, here's what's next on your calendar, and here's how long it'll take you to get there.
And you remember
like
Google
now it's good at that now.
Google bought Wim not long ago to do presumably exactly this.
And Wim was
smartwatch
like,
maker.
Wim did a decent job, like really early on. Well, decent is strong.
Wim's fatal flaw was not including Bluetooth in the watch. It had
Whoops.
Wi-Fi. It had Wi-Fi, but no Bluetooth.
Whoopsies.
wow.
Sorry, guys.
So the last thing that we're really expecting is the Nokia's X phone, the Android phone. And
what are we expecting this to be?
it's going to be a phone that runs Android.
Got it. No, but is this
And
like
it's going to be low end, right? And it's not going to.
So this is
like.
But this is Nokia owned by Microsoft's Nokia.
Well,
not yet. Not yet.
That's the thing.
So they're
It's
gonna make
these
this phone
Nokia
and
engineers are
then-
like, we made this and we're releasing it.
They're going to
goddamn
make it, and then like 25 minutes later, Satya Nadella is going to come up and just smack it out of their hand
no,
on
because
stage
it's,
and be like,
it's
"You
for
shut
the
up."
low end. Who cares?
Well,
But,
so devil's advocate.
Okay.
And Tom has been.
And by devil, you mean
I mean Tom Warren.
Android? Tom Warren.
Tom Warren's advocate.
Yeah.
Tom Warren's advocate.
Intrepid Microsoft reporter Tom Warren.
They have so fundamentally stripped. Presumably, they have so fundamentally stripped this version of Android of its Androidness and replaced it with Microsoft services and
interesting.
Microsoft UI or Nokia UI, I guess technically, that no one will know that it's Android, and there's zero chance that they will mention the word Android on stage at
Then
MWC.
why do it?
That's a great question.
I mean,
You're asking the right questions, David. You should be a journalist.
Presumably
the Verge
because
hiring.
Android can run on lower end hardware than Windows Phone can.
I mean, that's
Got to be. That's the only reason I can think
No,
of.
but is that seriously true? Like, if you look at the Lumia 520, it is so cheap. It is so cheap.
I don't know.
It's so not very good, though. Is the
Well,
thing.
yeah, but neither is low-end Android.
Well, fair. No, but I don't get it. Like, I don't get why this is a smart move.
It's
Even
it's a hate release. Like a bunch of engineers at Nokia were super pissed that they didn't get to build their own stuff. So they built their own thing. They brought Steve Neal up. He's like, I don't know about this. And then he didn't get the job at Microsoft. He's like, screw it. Just put it out there. I don't care.
do it.
Well, so we were talking about this just a little bit on the mobile show. I think what may have happened is at some point Nokia was seriously working on Android across the range as a plan B in case Windows Phone failed. And that project got smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller until eventually it was just like an Asha replacement. And then they're still using Windows Phone on the high end, of course.
Right.
But you can imagine how at one point they were like, yeah, we might need to bail to Android. Like that's a serious possibility.
Yeah.
So they were, exploring it across the range, and now that the scope just got smaller.
I mean, but that ship sailed, right? Like they're not going to switch to Android.
The platform was
They're owned by
burning.
Microsoft.
They jumped into
Right.
the ship, and now the ship has sailed. I don't know.
but
building
it's
the
like
metaphor.
still sort of slowly sinking as it sails. It's going very fast.
And then it lights on fire because
kind
it's a
of-
burning platform.
Yeah, right. It's like a Viking funeral. It's
It's
just,
a burning, sinking ship.
yeah.
I've learned a lot. Just
Oh
now.
man.
Yeah, I'm really curious to see how that goes down, and even more than that, to see how they talk about it. Because I think if they're like,
They will never say Android once.
you don't think?
No, they will not say the word Android.
Then what are they going to say?
I mean, did Amazon say Android when
No.
they announced
I don't,
Kindle?
I don't think so.
well, but they named it though. They were like, "Here's what." Do you think Nokia's going to have their own name for
Oh, sure.
whatever OS this is?
Probably,
Yeah.
yeah.
Why
They'll call it X. I don't know. Just like every other phone on the
I hope
market.
it's something
is called
Finnish
X.
that's completely unpronounceable.
They should just call it
Yeah.
Asha and just like hope nobody actually knows what Asha is, and they just go
Yeah,
for
they
it.
Well, we
could.
were actually talking about
Asha's Nokia's low-end phone line.
Right, you
Yeah.
remember, Dieter, I think you were at this Nokia World where they introduced Asha for the first time, and they spent like half an hour talking about what Asha meant.
Yeah.
Like I can't remember what language it is, but
No.
it's like they described it. So yeah, maybe they'll do
It's
that.
a lovely
again.
name. I googled it and I get the American Speech Language Hearing Association.
I don't think
which
that was it.
I feel like I'm close.
I don't
but
think that
maybe
was it.
not quite there.
Yeah, we'll see. I mean, it's a weird move. We've been saying for years and years and years that if they had taken the Nokia like N9, which was their first new design language phone,
Right.
that was running Amigo, if they had taken that and just put like ICS on it, it would have been an amazing device.
Yeah, I mean, we've been saying this for forever,
Yeah.
right? Like if they would just Nokia builds better phones
We just
than
reviewed
anybody.
the Icon,
Yeah.
which
Well.
is not quite up to Nokia
Whoops.
standards.
No, I can't say it for sure, so I can't like write it, but I am so sure that everybody at Verizon just like gets off on ruining good things. They're just like, oh, you made this really nice phone. No. Throw it in the dirt, make it twice as large, and put 40 logos on it, and then we will sell it in our stores.
Make it an inch thick.
Yeah. Or like they have some secret backdoor deal with Samsung where they're like, you can only sell ugly phones except Samsung.
You know what? You're
possible.
right. Think about the Samsung Continuum, which was the worst phone ever
Oh
made.
God, the Samsung Continuum.
Oh man. Wait, was that the one with the two screens?
Yeah, only
That
it
I
wasn't
love
really
that
two
phone.
screens. It just had like a piece of
That's fair.
plastic over the
Yeah.
screen to make it look like two screens.
Yeah, it was
Wait, okay, speaking of Samsung, I have a
No.
question
Yes.
for both of you. So I just reviewed this Galaxy Note Pro, the big
Which
tablet.
Is
It's
this big?
It's a television.
Yeah.
Like the
It's
only
right
way
there
I can
behind
think to
your head
describe
right
it.
now.
It's
That-
right-
there it is.
That is the Galaxy
You
Note
used
Pro.
it as a literal like food tray.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In your review,
You
which is
can
amazing.
you can carry things on it. It's lovely. But A, it's now just horribly broken. Thank you, Michael Shane. And B,
not his fault.
is what I get to the end of this whole thing and I'm still like, this is what everybody thinks is about to happen, right? Is that we're gonna make tablets that are our primary computing devices, right? Like there are all these rumors that Apple's making a big thing, or like somewhere between the MacBook Air and the iPad. Samsung's doing it. Everybody, like the Surface is sort of this. Like, is this a good idea? Do we want this?
To make
Are
every form
laptops
factor?
dying? And eventually we'll just all have tablets, and that'll be like the thing that we do.
No.
Yes.
But like PC sales are down, right? Tablet sales are, I don't know. We're at this weird inflection point where like people are writing that nobody cares about tablets anymore, but then tablet sales are growing and PC sales are dying.
But here's what people do.
And
here's what people really want. They buy their iPad and then they buy a keyboard case for it.
Right.
Just buy a laptop. Just do it. Just buy a laptop.
Right. No, that's the thing. But I think ultimately, I mean, the trend seems clear that it's going to be iPads and keyboard cases. And for the life of me, I can't figure out why, for anyone who actually does anything ever. And I guess maybe that's my fundamental theory is that most people just want to sit around and not do stuff.
Like those things are different. Just buy a laptop. But if this thing right here had a little bit thicker screen and when you pulled it off, it turned into an iPad, and when you put it on, it was a Mac, would you not buy that?
Yes, I would buy that.
You would buy the hell out of that. Because so it's a hinge problem and it's a battery complexity.
No,
problem.
it's also a software problem.
Right.
If you can make a device, I mean, I also want to like be able to chop off a corner and have it be my cell phone, but like, I don't know, all of these things. Like I get this is the Moto Atrix all over again.
Right.
Like I said when the Moto Atrix came out, I was like, this is the best idea. This is the future, and I was just so wrong. Just so wrong.
Well, just because it was bad.
It was
software.
a terrible product. But what they did was they were like, we made a phone, and you dock it into a tab, or you dock it into whatever you need it to be, and then it works as that.
But you also have weird feelings about the pad phone. Like,
I love the pad phone. I love it so much.
I don't understand.
There's a
these
new one
feels.
coming, and it's coming to AT&T, and I'm gonna get it. It's gonna be the best. It's gonna be the best. I'm gonna use the pad phone station all day.
Oh, do not.
All day.
Don't do that.
No, do not, because you learned what it's like to try and work on Android. You learn what it's like to work on Android that can actually let you have multiple things on the screen at the same time. It's not good.
Yeah, I mean, beyond everything else,
horrible.
that's the
It's
problem.
way
It's the software
better
problem.
than what I expected. The multitasking on the Tab Pro is way better than what I expected, but I wasn't expecting much.
Right.
Right?
No, I mean,
I was
and
expecting
it's ultimately like I can sit here and like resize my browser and I can have 8 apps open if I want to, and they're however I want them to work. And it's just Android is a million miles away from that.
I mean, the bottom line is that.
But if that thing, like if I could dock it into a keyboard and it would run Windows,
Oh, look at you try and drag Windows.
Like,
That's
that
so
would
cute.
be great. But I don't know that that's possible either.
So
I mean, that's
like
part of
that's straight up just a Haswell. It's a processor problem.
Sure.
And an OS problem.
I mean, this is also what like
and presumably we'll fix that.
It's also the possibility of like Chrome OS and Android merging, right? Is that when I want it to be, it's an Android tablet, and then I dock it in, and it's a Chromebook.
Right.
But Chrome OS is only marginally more. In fact, it's not even more functional than Android.
It's
in some
way
ways,
more
less.
functional than Android.
What?
It's a
For
browser.
like,
come on.
Like all I use is a browser anyway, and to be able to have like a bunch of windows open and doing stuff side by side, and like, everything's a web app.
I have a
and,
Chromebook.
like,
I love it.
That's a window problem. It's not an OS problem.
Yeah, but honestly, I think on some level, the biggest productivity problems we have on these mobile devices are window problems.
Yeah, lack of Windows. Yeah.
Like
Window
it's
and like button problems.
yeah, like easy switching between stuff and window problems, and like Chrome OS is a small way of solving.
Trying to make me say WebOS, aren't you? Damn it!
It's true.
No,
Is it gonna? We're gonna look back in 50 years and be
right?
like, "Shit, they got it right the first time," and then
No,
we
it
just ruined
wasn't.
it
The
forever.
first time was terrible, but well, not terrible, but not great. But that concept of panels that lost that never got made.
What was the joke about the Irish? Like the Irish discovered civilization and then they had a Guinness and lost it.
Yeah.
it's like that's what WebOS was. Like,
Well, Dieter, you're going to buy an LG TV for this very reason, right?
oh yes, you
No,
are.
I'm not buying an LG TV. No, I'm not buying a TV for 5 years. Easily. I've got a TV that's like 2, maybe 3 years old. No, it's 2 years old. I've got an Xbox One plugged into it now.
For Titanfall.
Yeah, which I can't play anymore, which I'm really bad at. And
I didn't
said this
know
on
the beta
Twitter.
was going offline last night. I didn't play, and then I tried to play,
real bad.
and now I'm really sad. I'm terrible at that game.
I'm terrible.
Just awful.
Also, the Xbox One is embarrassingly large.
It's big.
It's not. If
It's
you put it
so big.
Put it next to anything else. A cable box. A TiVo.
I've got the
like I could definitely like
is
live in
replacing
the ocean on my cable box.
IKEA's replacing
For
its
sure.
Expedit shelf line, which has got all the hipsters angry because it's perfect for holding records. And we use it as
also
an
gone now.
entertainment center.
Oh yeah, we
See
wrote
that?
about that.
Yeah, we use it in an entertainment center,
RIP.
and we use it to have we've got records in it because you have to have records if you live in Brooklyn. But
You
underneath,
just moved here and just immediately bought a bunch of records.
yeah, underneath, I had a little Expedit slot with an Xbox 360, a Wii, and an Ouya. Everything was in there. It was
I already
it
don't
stayed
trust
cold.
you.
It was
Yeah,
fine.
this conversation is going
I
south.
took all 3 of those things out. I'm like, I'm going to place all this with the one. It's going to be awesome. Nope. It has
was
to
too
sit
wide.
on top of my entertainment center.
Maybe that's
just
why IKEA
hanging out.
discontinued it.
Yeah.
because they were like, "Crap, it doesn't fit the Xbox One. We got to try something else." It could be why. No, that thing is large. It's very large.
Stupidly big.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And super loud, it turns
Yeah.
out.
Well,
Like,
that's because
especially when I'm playing
literally every
Titanfall.
component of it has a fan. The power supply, the Kinect has a fan, and the box has a fan.
That's true. The Kinect fan is my favorite.
Yeah.
Wow.
All right, are we? I feel like
I think
we're done.
We're wrapping up.
Yeah.
So if you want to contact us, you can. You can email us. The email address is thevergecast@theverge.com. Is that right? Just
It's just
Vergecast. There's no the. Just Vergecast@theverge.com. We're also on Twitter. I want to thank Ellis Hamburger, who was here earlier. He is at Hamburger,
Which is awesome.
which is the
so
best.
jealous.
David
Pretty
Pierce is at Pierce David, which is the worst.
Yeah, that's
objectively
true.
the worst.
Just, I'm telling you, please, everyone, berate whoever at David Pierce is on Twitter. He's
come
actually a
on.
very nice guy.
Don't do that.
We've talked a few times because sometimes I
Yeah.
berate him into trying to give me his Twitter. Very nice guy. But please, everyone, berate him into giving me his Twitter handle. Thank
Do
you.
it.
Chris Ziegler is at Z Power. I am at
Which is good.
Backlon, and there's a really good story behind that, which I'd love to tell you sometime. But until I do, this weekend, your family, keep Josh away from him.